we're now in this engagement and cognitive processing class. This domain, engagement and cognitive processing, is one that talks about a number of variables. It gives us some information about how involved the person is. It tells us a lot about the way they process information. And it gives us some indications about whether the person is under more demand than they have resources to handle. And it gives us some information about their preferred problem-solving style. So this is an important domain, important for this guy in a number of ways, and a domain that often is one that when people are having difficulty, when they're feeling overwhelmed, going along with the questions that some of you were raising in terms of the amount of stress that is involved in caring for an aging parent and so forth. This is a domain that lets us know how the person is dealing with the slings and arrows of an outrageous fate. So there's a lot to say about this. And the first one to look at is this complexity variable. So I want to take some time and talk about complexity, even though we were very struck with how difficult it was to code his answers in some ways and how long some of them were. It turns out that in terms of this complexity variable, he's absolutely normative. That's a surprising sort of finding. I guess I would have bet that his complexity would be higher than that. But the Rorschach keeps you very honest in some ways, and as you can see, he's at the 73rd percentile, standard score of 109. So it's a tiny bit above the mean, but not even a standard deviation above the mean in terms of complexity. But let's talk about what we mean by complexity and why we think it's such an important variable. As Don mentioned, complexity is really an aggregate, a combination of variables from various parts of the response process that sort of show how much engagement the person had in response to the task. Essentially, complexity is how many neurons did the person fire in giving this answer. And the way that we look at that is did he use a lot of different locations with white space and so forth? Did he use a lot of different content? Did he use a lot of different determinants?